through this whole story, as heavy as it gets and as dark as life can get, pain is pain is pain. It's a universal experience, and this is just my story, but it's my goal that everyone can find humor in some aspects of the story, and that everyone can take away this feeling of joy by the end, because hope isn't all gone.
Okay, and welcome to this episode of the Lehigh Valley with Love podcast. We have a special one. We're here with Hannah Mittermeier, who is from Whitehall, but is now in California, and we're pleased to talk about her upcoming film.
I'm Hannah. I grew up in Coplay, was a 2017 graduate of Whitehall High School. I studied comedy, actually, at Emerson College. That is a major now.
Do you get like a diploma in comedy?
Yes. It's comedic arts. You could sort of pick your track. There was production, there was performing, writing. I very much was geared more towards writing and performance.
Okay.
Lived in Boston for a few years when I was getting that. Graduated during the pandemic. I moved to LA. I knew this was always where I wanted to go. I work at a talent agency, but my dream is to be a screenwriter. So Happy Saturday is semi-autobiographical. I'd call it a dramedy. It chronicles a young woman's thought process, as well as the very moments leading up to her 22nd birthday, because that's an occasion that tends to be filled more so with excitement, but for her, this character known only as Sister, the day is very much weighed down by her grief and survivor's guilt, because this is an age that her older brother didn't quite live to see. It's very much my life. I grew up with an older brother named Christian. He passed away when I was 16 and he was 21. And I always wanted to create something in his memory, more or less a tribute to him, use that as a platform to talk about it, because I find comedy is an excellent platform and can be a really safe space to talk about things like mental health struggles and trauma, and to still do so honestly. Art and writing has always been cathartic for me. I started writing the script officially once I moved out here. Pain is pain is pain. It's a universal experience, and to try to talk about it and talk about mental health in a way that is respectful but can maybe inspire humor and hope, and on top of that just immortalize my brother, give him the gift of living forever through art. And I had come across a small production company out here called Onyx Films, and they are a female-led LGBTQ plus friendly production company, and I pitched the idea to them. They seemed pretty intrigued by the idea and have just been so supportive and have been backing me all this time.
How is that? Because you go through the process and it's, you know, as you just mentioned, very highly personal for you. Mm-hmm. I would imagine just to write this, but now you're going to film it and share that with the world. I could imagine the emotions in you are twofold. Like, what is that like?
It's wild. It feels like my baby. I think anything anyone creates is going to feel like that. So there's a part of the nerves of, is this even actually going to happen in the way that I envision it? It's filmmaking, so anything can go wrong, and something probably will, but that's okay.
Count on it, right?
Yeah, just got to be flexible and roll with the punches. I found a wonderful person that will be playing my brother, and that's very bizarre because I know my brother. I'm like, yeah, this is.
I can imagine, yeah.
But it's cool that he is taking on that responsibility and is tasked with something very, very personal and very powerful to me and a lot of people. And he has so much respect for the role, and that's what matters most to me.
What would you want an audience maybe to get from your film?
Oh, I would hope that the audience would get to learn about my brother, because aside from my parents, who are actually flying out from the Lehigh Valley to be in this, which is crazy. They don't have to do that, but they're willing to.
Are you going to pay them like the SAG rate?
We're negotiating. It's going to be amazing and so fulfilling. So aside from them and from me, everyone that's a part of this film, cast and crew wise, has never met my brother. So for them to get to learn about him through this process, for an audience watching to get to learn about my brother, and to maybe, if they have siblings of their own, start to kind of reflect on that kind of sibling dynamic, that kind of relationship. Because for me and my brother, it was a little complex in some ways. But if I can inspire someone to reflect on their own family and what their loved ones mean to them, and how much life can become distorted when you have a loss like that, or there's just someone missing. Ultimately, our mission is to bring about a fraction of the joy that I know my brother brought other people. It gets dark sometimes, it gets heavy, but that's the reality of it. And it's so important to me to not shy away from it, but to be transparent. And it was a really interesting process starting to share the script around when I had started writing all of the different iterations of it and sending it to some friends, some family, and them reading it and being like, I knew to an extent what you were going through, but not like this. I think it really provides a lot of insight into what that process might look like for some people, what that loss looks like for some people. I hope people just have fun. I hope everyone has fun making it. I hope people have fun watching it. I hope it's silly enough that it can offset some of the potential awkwardness of, oh, we're talking about death. Like, but it doesn't have to be bad or scary.
I think you mentioned the word cathartic. You have to deal with your grief fully. You have to embrace it in order to really kind of understand it and never move on, but be able to have that understanding of it.
Exactly. I think that's spot on. This film takes place during the time I'm 22. I'm not 22 anymore, but I am still dealing with grief. It might have been almost 8 years since my brother passed, but I'm still grieving, and maybe that sounds like a long time, but there is no time frame for it. And to try to understand your grief, I think, at least for me, maybe it'll get me a little bit closer to a place of acceptance than I am, and to be able to no longer just grieve and mourn, but to celebrate someone, and to do so in such a creative way. I know he really he loved movies and he loved music, and he didn't think he was the best artist, and that's correct, he wasn't, but but he was an avid enjoyer of it. And to think that I'm making something that if he were here, he might watch it and think it's pretty cool. It's a really nice feeling.
What's the next step? I know, can people help you out with any crowdfunding? I think you were doing some of that, or is that still ongoing?
Yes. So it's a platform. It's called Seed and Spark, and they specifically try to. It's a little different from GoFundMe, whereas it's catered more towards artists and storytellers. Okay. And our mission, I guess, is to reach 80% of our goal. Once we get 80%, we hit the green light, which means we can collect all of the funds we've raised this far.
How are you doing so far? You said, are you at 50?
We're at 55% as of now.
For people watching, we'll make sure that the link is in there, or clearly, go to your Instagram account and you can get more information on it.
Yes, I would love to submit it to different film festivals. One of them being Art with Impact, which champions short films that specifically talk about mental health or mental illness. So the best way that you can get more information is to follow us on Instagram. That is at Happy Sad Short Film. Or if there's any way that you want to just get in touch, get to know more about the project, you can also email us at happysadshortfilm@gmail.com.
Hannah, thank you so much. Still always is fun for me to talk to somebody from the Lehigh Valley on the other side of the country who's doing fantastic. So we're proud of you. Keep it up. And we can't wait for the film to come out and everyone to get a look at it.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you to our sponsors, WXPN, the Wind Creek Event Center, Molly's Irish Grill and Sports Pub, Michael Bernadyn with Remax Real Estate, Kitchen Magic, and made possible in the Lehigh Valley. Thank you very much for listening.